one of the questions that has come up recently is when you get interviewed by a potential employer, after the interview, do you send a thank you note?
I always thought you were supposed to. Who doesn't?
Well, thank you. I do.
Okay. That's
Okay.
a question. People really don't want to send a thank you note.
People don't, well, you're dealing with some people who are just starting out in the job market, some millennials, and
Mhm.
they don't know that it is a good idea to send a thank you note. But there's a psychological reason that I give my clients all the time for definitely reaching out. It's the same reason that if you have a resume with you, you don't bring it to the job for the interview, because if you don't have the resume, theoretically they've already seen your resume, but
Right.
the
Mhm.
people don't read all that carefully, and you don't want to get upset that somebody didn't read your resume, which one of my clients once did. But I know, and he showed his anger, and of course he didn't get the job, and it was a big job, and he got fed up with somebody uh, just not bothering to read it, and starting with this one comment, well, tell me about yourself, meaning code 4. I didn't have time to read your resume, so
Well, it
okay.
could be they just want a different slant. I don't take that as necessarily they haven't read it. Do you think? I mean,
I think that maybe they glanced over it. They
yes.
didn't see the things that you really want to pinpoint. And so it's a really good idea not to get upset when somebody didn't do what you expected them to do. But
Right. Because that's a big red flag when you're interviewing somebody and they're already upset that they don't handle stress well.
that's not a good thing to have. No, no, not at
Right,
all.
right,
But for the same reason that I tell all my clients, do not take your resume with you, even if you're going to some networking party. Don't take your resume, because
right.
you want to make that impression initially. You know, my whole 3-step process: dialogue, then your monologue about who you are. So you're taking the triangle and you're once again inverting it. And usually people start out saying, hi, I am director of blah, 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 blah. Do you have any jobs? Or I just got finished with my master's degree. And do you have any positions in your company that you know about? Not even developing rapport first, which is so essential. So,
Well, I want to add my opinion to that. Can I add a little to that?
yes, yeah, yeah.
I like it when they bring their resume, but I don't want to see it right away. I'd like them to leave an extra copy if I want one. So if I was interviewing somebody and I said, "Do you have a copy of your resume?" I think in your line of thinking, you say, "Yeah, I have it for you. Do you mind if I give it to you later? I'd love to chat first." What do you think?
I would,
You don't
I
even bring
tell
it.
my clients, never, never, never bring your resume. And here's the reason:
Uh huh.
because I want you to make that first impression that is so dynamite that the person can't wait to speak to you again and to hear from you again and to, I hate this term. I hate this term. Pick your brain.
Oh, you knew I'd hate it. All the
Oh,
hackneyed expressions for everybody.
I hate that when
That's
people
great though.
when
Yeah.
people yeah
My
people call
sister and I do that all day. We outdo each other with our stupid expressions, just to make each other.
that's great.
No, I
That's
love
great.
it. Keep them coming because they cheer me up when people do
Yeah,
that.
well, that's but when people
But
say, what,
I
that's
think,
a real turnoff. You want to pick my brain?
well, what
What
do you
am
do for
I?
me then, as because I'm interviewing you, and I think you didn't bring it, so you're not prepared, and that this is just a thing that you're saying to cover your rear. You're not ready to prepare.
No.
So what do you
Oh,
say?
not at all. Oh, listen, there's nothing wrong with holding your resume on the side and giving it to the guy's secretary or the
Uh-huh.
woman's secretary afterwards. The point that I'm trying to
Okay,
make is that
I see
you
your point,
want,
and I agree with it.
but you want to make a
Uh-huh.
bang up
Right.
impression. so that next time they won't just peruse your resume, they'll look at it deeply and evaluate it because they were interested in you, the person. Therefore, I suggest always that you make it a separate trip or a separate email because you want to have additional contact with that person. Now,
You know what else you can do? And I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
what you're saying, I think, is really critical. And I teach a course right now where I have people create their business cards, and I have them put a QR code that goes to their resume on their business card.
art.
So you have your resume with you because it's on
Yes,
a QR code.
but
You have that.
that is the latest thing now. Somebody just showed me she had just had new cards. No, a new card. A new card. She wasn't giving it to me. She said, "Here is my new business card. And if you're interested in further, take your phone and shoot the QR code." And that is interesting, but then that necessitates my taking my phone out of my pocket or purse
Yes.
and shooting that. And am I going to look at it again? Who knows? I don't know. Sometimes we go to.
I have mixed feelings about the electronic versus the non-electronic. I wonder if I have one of the business cards I could show you, but you've seen mine. Mine are plastic,
Oh
and
yeah, yours are
and
yours are fun.
I have a lot of people who have those systems try to sell me their system where it shoots my entire stuff onto their phone, and I don't mind that, and I like that to some extent. But I think that it's kind of nice when you're an author to have the plastic card like I have, as a kind of a bookmark. So I as normally don't like business cards. When people give them to me, I throw them out. But people, it's such a conversation starter to have these plastic ones, and I'm not affiliated with these plastic people that create this, but they're really kind of cool. I think I have them. I'm gonna have to see if I have them. I think I do because I want to show you this. I think they're
I like your business cards. They're very
yeah, they're like they're cool.
memorable. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
very memorable.
and I think that when you have something that stands out for later, for them to remember you, it's good. And I
But you
used to
see,
have, yeah, what you're saying is build it for later, build it for later,
we
right?
are both on the
Right.
same
And I'm with you.
wavelength.
Hmm.
I am interested in you building, building, building from that initial interaction that you had because you did all the presentation skills that you need.
Right.
And in case you need some more, I have them in my Amplify book. But when you are building your rapport with somebody, even if you're meeting with that person for 2 minutes, make sure that you are memorable. And then you follow up. If it's an interview, you always send a thank you note. That's one follow up. Then you always send your resume, even if you gave your resume to the person earlier, send it again. The worst that can happen is that it's thrown in the garbage. Who cares? You're doing this all remotely anyway.
Right.
And your objective is because in order to get people to buy something from you, they have to see that product. How many times is it? 17? I don't remember what the latest statistics are, but there is so much information overload with us
Yeah.
that we always want to make sure that we are front and center in that person's mind. And how can you do that without making a pest of yourself?
It's funny because I used to teach students in marketing classes all these different things I used to do as a salesperson. And one of the things I used to do is I'd take this card, whatever I had, and I'd copy it into little stickers, and then I'd put them on Altoid boxes. And then I'd give out the Altoid boxes. So they had to keep looking at, in my, in your real estate or whatever I was in at the time, you had your
Right.
face on everything, just like I have to do now. And they had to look at you every time they opened that Altoid box and think about you. And I think that what you're saying is, you want to be in front of them all the time, and there's different ways of doing that. You want a certain connection at the beginning, you want a different connection later on, like a memorable thank you so much, because you want to be grateful and you want to follow up.